Okay. Well, yes, indeed. NoCallLeads 2.0 is coming. But what's interesting is NoCallLeads never stopped. We never stopped running the program. It became just a more restrictive program. You could say we were a victim of our own success, but many people are still prospering at very high levels. And of course, many people made millions. So there is that. I do want to address some things that were said. And the reason I want to do this is because there's many people still involved with our organization that are involved with the NoCallLeads program, and now they're going to be running the NoCallLeads 2.0, and in doing so, they should have somebody to stand up for them, and that person is me. They should have somebody to refute these ridiculous claims against NoCallLeads, but against them, those individuals as agents. So I want to go right here. This is from... this is a funny one. Hold on a second. I want to go, yes, I'll start here. Okay, this is one of those rumors. It was posted, this is a post that in the insurance forums where people were just trying to jump all over me and NoCallLeads and the agents involved in the program. And what was said here is something where, well, what does the person say? I need to see it. It's behind the camera over there. Here's the RICO complaint. But of course, when you look at the RICO complaint, it has nothing to do with NoCallLeads or anybody involved with NoCallLeads. And there it is. You can read it on your screen if you so desire. Take a still frame shot of that because I'm moving on. But no, there never was a RICO case. Oh boy, people are so funny. But when you do this, when you do something like this, and you have a thread relevant to and specifically pointed at me and NoCallLeads, my company, then what happens is just by posting that here's the RICO case, it's incriminating. But again, it's silly. Silly people, silly people. Oh, and so this is another post there, and I kind of omit the names because I'm not interested in attacking people because it doesn't serve me to attack people, although there are some people that I will make mention of here in this video because they need to be mentioned, but basically what it says, Nick Williams' contracts aren't on the line. His agents will be axed. And then this person went on and they have all this stuff about we were changing people from a silver plan to a bronze plan. Well, that never happened. That never, ever happened. As far as I know, it never happened. And if it did, it would be just, there are bad agents, and there could be bad agents anywhere. This is interesting. This is a correspondence, and I'll go further into this a little bit later because of some accusations. But this is correspondence from CMS. And this is the director of well, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's a big shot at CMS reaching out to me. And what you'll see there is the relevant information here. There's a couple points to be made. One is based on inquiries we're receiving in the agent portal or whatever, the agent... So basically what they're saying is they want to meet with me, not because there's any problems with our program, because of the agent issues. I'll tell you what they said, because I got it right here. Based on inquiries we're receiving at the agent broker email help desk, we have questions about how the program works. Well, then we scheduled a meeting. That was back around 2023, and we had a meeting. And then, let's see, there were, I guess about 5 people on there, compliance, CMS compliance, a whole bunch of people. And let's see. And then we had a meeting, a compliance meeting discussing the NoCallLeads program. And it was, thanks for your time today. I hope you found the call helpful. It wasn't the end of the call, and this is relevant here. The end of the call was not it was not one of an attacking type of call. It was simply they wanted to know what was going on. We kind of exposed everything, and we had their blessing. Now, I will address that further. But then, in the groups, many of you will know that they had because of these ongoing agent complaints, they had suspended my, I guess, not my license, not anything like that, not our ability to do business as a whole, but just the ACA, which didn't really affect me a lot, although we had some business that we wrote. But this was, then the suspension was lifted, as you can see, in November of 2024. As a matter of fact, our attorney, who represents many agents and represents a major organization that represents agents across America. And so we had the backing of a major agent association. I'm not going to go into the names and everything because people are petty and they who knows, petty people do petty things. I have no idea, but many people are very petty. But here's the interesting part, and as you can see there, it says we are now writing to inform you that we are revising your reinstatement date back to the date of your initial suspension. And this was highlighted. I deleted that part out. You can see that's page 2 of 3 there. This is a rescission of the suspension. So they rescinded the suspension. You could use another word, that we were exonerated. So I was exonerated. And guess what? All the agents in our system that I can think of off the top of my head that worked with me with the NoCallLeads program were they all were reinstated and the suspension rescinded. So I guess the point there is, let's see. The point there is that, here it is. It says this was another post somewhere in one of these Facebook groups. No, this was in the insurance forum. It says he went down with the ship. He was doing seminars to the end. By the way, we're going to have go to NoCallLeads.com. We're doing seminars all over again, baby. And here's the funny part. It says, I'm sure he made many millions in overrides and fees he charged for his course. A ton of those agents will come to Medicare. Well, they stayed in the ACA because they kept making money. The volume stopped, but let me tell you guys, and I've got a lot of stuff here I want to cover. First of all, that's important. The inquiries into NoCallLeads were because of agents bitching and crying. And there's a reason for that. And I don't blame them. I don't blame the agents because there were some flaws. And that's what NoCallLeads did. It exposed the flaws in the system. Now, I'm just going to go down the list here because there is a big list. And I will say that hats off to the agents that attacked me. You did, you caused some grief from time to time. You caused aggravation from time to time. I believe one time I was in Winter Park, Colorado, on top of a mountain. And actually, before I went up the mountain, I got a call and said, "Hey, Nick, did you see what they're saying about you on the internet?" Did you see what they're saying about you on the internet? All those agents crying. So it was like, I'm on vacation. You get this stuff. It's aggravating. And I'm there with, and I get this, an alarming message from somebody like, "Hey, Nick, you okay?" It's like, yeah, I'm okay. But it doesn't feel good. Nobody likes to be attacked on the World Wide Web. It just does not feel good. But you get over it. And here's a point to be made there, because there was so much attacking and so much comment about NoCallLeads that it just created this monster that we did more business than ever, because everybody wanted to know, what is this? What is going on? And I will tell you, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it all over again. Because, again, as you read here, I'm sure he made his millions. Well, yeah. So then I thought it was dying down. I thought that it was all dying down. There's that NoCallLeads 2.0. That's what's happening now. And wait till you hear about that. But I thought it was all dying down, and that everybody was, pulling their pennies outside of their backsides, and that things were going to life as normal in the insurance business. But that's not what happened. Recently, there was the I call it the I Heard podcast, the I Heard seven-figure podcast, where they sat there and said, well, I heard this and I heard that, all about NoCallLeads. And this came out just a little while back. It was like, I heard this about it and I heard that. And then basically they went down a watch list of all these, horrific deeds. And I have an assistant, and she said, because I heard this and I heard that, but I'm not, and one of them was like, I want to say his name, but I'm not going to. I just can't, but I so want to say his name. It's Nick Williams. You could say my name, but anyhow, my assistant, she goes, they sound like some girls talking there, like, because they're giggling and stuff. But I don't, basically what they're doing, I think what a lot of these people do is they're going to make a video that gets clicks, okay? But I'm going to go down their little watch list and address all their concerns. And by the way, one of these two agents purchased, I don't even know if the one person I know is an agent, and we work for the same company. So he's attacking me, and we work for the same company, as if, had I done something wrong, our company would have done something about it. I won't go into names specifically, but the chairman of the board or CEO is like, anyhow, listen, it's just funny how these people don't think. I had one person, there's a group, again, we're being, we basically have been exonerated of any wrongdoing. Our legal counsel represents agents all across America for many different things. They are 100% behind us, but yet a person that's sat on the board of directors there, she was making Facebook posts about Nick Williams is so bad, yet the people that she counseled for legal counsel are representing me. It's just funny. And they staunchly defended us and prevailed. Plus, now I understand, I'm not involved in it, that there's a class action suit being addressed regarding this and the way agents were treated. And there's a whole bunch of agents that are signing on to that. Not me, but I know this is happening. So this person says, he was selling his course or something. No, you didn't buy a course from me. You bought a technology program. It was never about a course. So it's a technology program. What NoCallLeads is a means to enroll people very effectively, as efficient and effectively as you can enroll them. At the time, we utilized the rules that existed. And because those rules were, and the guidelines and all of everything involved in NoCallLeads, and basically it's not about NoCallLeads, it's about the system. The system was not sturdy. It had fundamental flaws in it. And when all of a sudden NoCallLeads came on and we had hundreds of agents doing, and it's funny, but tens and tens of thousands of applications every month, then that exposed the flaws in the system, which I'll tell you about. So, and they said, I heard the I Heard podcast. So I heard, and by the way, I was friends with this person. I suppose I'm not now. I mean, I don't really care. But they could have just called me up and said, hey, Nick, I heard, and I would have answered. And they wouldn't have had, and this should teach this person a lesson. When you make accusations, when you make a video, and in the title is my company name, and then you say, I heard they did this, and I heard they did that, well, you're making, an accusation about me. When you know me, and had you not been so irresponsible, you could have called me up and asked me, Nick, did you guys do this, or did you do that? So, no, nobody made up any SEPs. That's not something we did. Although there were many people did that, okay? And there were horrific violators of the rules that CMS has and still are probably. They said this guy would get on webinars and he was so braggadocious. Yeah. We had people that made as much as $1 million a month. So these people are talking about their 7-figure agent group or whatever it is. We have people doing that every month. They're just trying to find somebody to get there. We had them literally doing $1 million a month. $1 million a month. Would I do it all over again? Yes. Why would I not? We actually changed people's lives, many, many people's lives. And most insurance agencies, FMOs, they just get agents in there and they just run them through, and the agents become part of. I'll go on I'll use the 8% Nation platform as saying many of these agencies will just allow that 92% to fail because they do what every FMO does. That's why 8% Nation was created, because they identified the 8% success rate, I believe. So this has nothing to do with 8% Nation, but it's many of these people who I'll say bitch and complain. They just do the same old thing, which is a failed system. So you've got to have ownership for your failure. The whole lot of you, I've lived in that failed system. It says we got carriers to sign off on the system. They said, I looked at their website and it showed they had carriers sign off on the system. No, we never said carriers signed off on the system. What do you think? You send a system to a carrier and they sign off? Yes, your system is approved. No, that's not the way it works. But nonetheless, they heard or something about my license being pulled or suspended. No, it never happened. They heard of stories of agents enrolling 15 people getting enrolled 15 times or 60 times. And that's true. And I'll tell you why. The reason they were enrolled so many times is because the system allowed for them to do it. And what happened was you had people selling leads to agents, and you had agents running ads, and people kept clicking on the ads. and they would keep getting enrolled. But every single one of them, every single person that was enrolled in a NoCallLeads system had everything there to properly enroll them. That's why when I met with CMS, and they do address that, he said that the program was CMS approved. I think it was on his website I saw where it was CMS approved. I mean, I never said that. But anyhow, here's what would happen. I went on a little tangent there. It's 15 times somebody was enrolled or 60 times. There were people breaking the law, okay? There was an agent down in Florida. There's an FMO that if these people, if the I Heard podcast were to really dig, and they know people that know this, because I know who they know. I've seen people that were, I've seen the circle, you know, and they would know there's an FMO that had a bot. This is an FMO that almost everybody's aware of, this FMO in America, and they had a bot that was scraping the health Sherpa and getting clients with, it was like this illegal thing. They actually have recordings of this particular FMO with their in-house agency or whatever. So I had to do a quick edit on this video because I was getting kind of wordy on a tangent there. What I was saying at that moment was there was agents, at least one agent, actually there were several, out of Florida. I don't know what it was. They were companies or agents. They were writing an ungodly amount of clients, and I don't know how they were doing it, but somebody would write a client, and within an hour, they would become agent of record, or somebody would change the agent of record, and they would change it within an hour. And it was unbelievable, the sheer volume of clients that they were able to write. And again, it was clearly technology at play. It wasn't a human touch to this. So it was clearly fraudulent. And the end result, I believe, of that, it was investigated, and to some degree, because I have some information on this, some inside information, and I could be wrong. This is not 100% fact, but I was told this by more than one source, and one of them being a legal avenue, and they were investigated to the extent of CMS's ability to investigate, and they were turned over to the Secret Service because they said it was beyond their scope. So they just let it go. And I don't know that anything ever happened to them. That is a very outright criminal fraud that must have been taking place. But I don't think anything ever resulted of that. Not too many people talk about that, and maybe they have. I don't really watch a lot of what people talk about on the internet, but there were many very egregious activities that had nothing to do with us, that if the I Heard podcasts were able to investigate, they could have easily had a really interesting story. Anyhow, I want to go back to the video. They heard that agents were getting paid like multiple times for, like they'd enroll one person on 5 platforms. And nobody I know ever did that. And so they were paid 5 times. But that doesn't make any sense. I don't know, but I ain't never heard of it being done. So, and they said, they did say this on their podcast, that they said, I saw screenshots, and they were screenshots of people getting enrolled multiple times. And I'm like, well, if you saw, they said it was on the internet. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. So that's a pretty gross violation. I didn't know that there were agents putting screenshots of enrollments on the internet. That would seem a violation in spirit, if not technically, of PHI. You know, that would be a gross violation there of somebody's personal information, Privacy Act, whatever it would be. But it would seem to be troublesome. And if they saw people posting screenshots of people being enrolled, well, if there were no names there, well, then they actually screenshots of people being enrolled. If there were names, they should have talked about them in their video. But one of the big problems that was exposed, and they brought this up on their little podcast, was that they had this agent of record thing. So a big problem, and it was exposed because of the sheer volume that agents with us did. By the way, it wasn't just our agents, because I had this one person that was handling some of my technology. He stole the technology, went to another organization, brought the technology to them, and they blew it up. I wasn't the only person, and I'll let you guys in on something else. There were people doing this individually prior to NoCallLeads. And I talked to some of these people, and they saw what I was doing. They saw me just getting started. They said, "Don't do it, Nick," because basically they had a gravy train. They were enrolling 1,000 people a day through a similar system that we had. What we did was we put it on through our technology and made it available to the masses. So all we did was made available to the masses what was being utilized by some big money people that were going to make big money, and the agents never were going to make the big money. As a matter of fact, I had an agent that worked for one of these FMOs come to do business with me, and he was like, "Well, they won't tell me how it works, Nick." And that's... so they were doing it already. And it was funny because the agent, it was a guy and his significant other, they were going to handle some technology for me. And the last words they said, they wanted a piece of my action, okay? And their last words to me were "F you," and they were gone. And then about 2 months later, they came back, this other organization, they said, "Well, they never paid us, Nick." So they burned this bridge. They went to the other company who also runs a CRM, who actually, after these people these thieves, basically, I won't call them thieves, but anyhow, after they took the information there, then that organization said I was non-compliant. So it's just hypocrisy. But the problem was the AORs. It was a flaw in the system. An agent could go into the system and change the agent of record. So what you had was, because of all of a sudden, it was the mass marketing, the volume. We were doing as many as 50,000 applications in a month. I mean, we were putting up numbers and we did this all, it took us all about from 0 applications. I mean, I've always had a ACA, FFM identification, and still do, and still get paid. But what they were doing was they were going into the system and they were changing the agents of record. I almost lost my train of thought there. They were changing the agent of record, and there were thousands of agents doing it. I don't know about thousands. It probably was thousands when all was said and done. We had a whole bunch of agents, and they were mastering this, and they were crushing it, and they had LOAs and stuff. And but by the way, we never had any offshore people do this because that's illegal, which they said, I heard, which is stupid. Anyhow, so people start stealing agent of record. You had agents that were just stealing agents, were just changing agent of record that had no affiliation with the consumer. So it had nothing to do with NoCallLeads, has nothing to do with us at all. But you heard that it did. So you want to tell everybody in the context of a video about NoCallLeads that you heard. Therefore, it must be these NoCallLeads guys. When you say, I heard about 15 different things, it starts to be, it's like you're lying. You're not being honest. What you're doing is you're just attacking. And your I heard is just a little out for you. offshore enrollments with no agent involvement. In all of the time that I've ever done this, I've never had one of our agents that I've ever heard of do such a thing. Never. Stories of thousands of applications. They said, I heard stories of thousands. Yeah, that's right. We were doing tens of thousands of applications a month. Easy. And again, this goes back to my initial question. I would not change anything because we had agents that percentage-wise, it was not 92%, 8% here, failure versus success. We had a bunch of people. It was like probably 50-50. Half the agents that signed on made a ton of money. Guess what? They're all in business still, unless maybe somebody did something wrong somewhere, but that has nothing to do with NoCall leads because our agents across the board are doing just fine. Yes, millions of dollars in commissions paid out. Our top agent making as much as $1 million, clearly not as much as, made over $1 million a month in commissions. So I would ask those people watching this, I would say, well, do you really think that that there was something? Okay, here's what I would say. Aren't you glad that these people made millions of dollars? How's that? Aren't you glad that these people made millions of dollars? Aren't you glad that somebody cashed in on this business other than being recycled through some shitty lead system that doesn't, or the lies of many marketers? Yeah, right. So, and again, I repeat that this person, one of those two people in that the I Heard podcast, did buy the system. They bought it. Then they found out that I would still basically own the system, that they couldn't take it, and then they would and they would have to pay me for it on an ongoing basis. And they were like, that's not what I was looking for. That's not what I was looking for. I just refunded their money, because I'm an honest guy. So, Jesus. And this person, they could have just called me and said, Nick, I heard all this stuff, but yet they want to go on and get clicks, I guess. They want to get clicks at the expense of me, my company, and the many hardworking agents we have. That's what they did. So it shows a lack of character, and it shows a lack of character of many of these people. I'll give you another example. I gave you a couple of them. At least one of the two people in that podcast, we work for the same company. But I know somebody else who made videos consistently attacking me because, again, it's Click City. They're using me to grow their business. The person that runs them, their FMO, called me, and this person made all kinds of videos. There's one of these ACA video guys, and their FMO personally called me. The guy in charge runs everything, and he said, "Hey, don't do that, man. Keep it on the down low." Well, I didn't. I blew it up. So these people should be thanking me. They said CMS, again, the I Heard podcast. I heard. And and the reason I could point out any of these podcasts and do this. This one, I thought it had all settled down. But these people want to come at me just like, I don't know, a couple months ago. And people kept telling me about it. Hey, man, did you hear what these people are doing? All over again. All over again. It's, just shows any, again, I'm not going to, and they said, well, and then it brought on all this draconian compliance issues. Well, not really. It didn't. We still have people making a lot of money. And they said they got basically implemented what's called the equivalent of a scope of appointment. Can't even talk now. No, there's nothing like a scope of appointment implemented. They had to sign something that said the data that was on the application was true and accurate. They had to sign something. It was a series of several signatures in a sequence that would get them to approval, that would get them to a submission. By the way, to this day, and one of the things that made all this possible is that the agent never had to speak to the client. I'm not involved in the daily operations as much as I used to be, but I don't think there's been a guideline change that has stopped that. A person can still sign up for ACA health insurance without talking to an agent. So it's still there, folks. I was just, I had a note that we work for the same company. Oh. And again, I have all the who's who of the industry defending me on the legal side, the FMO side and everything, but yet these hotshot agents that don't know what they're talking about, they know everything. False accusations. Yeah, that's not it. Oh, and by the way, we did have some legal issues. But guess what? We resolved all those legal issues. And guess who paid for all the attorneys for everybody? Me. Any agents, I either paid 100% for the attorney or I split it 50-50 with the agents. But by far, I paid for the attorneys for all the agents. And guess what? All the agents were exonerated. So it's, it's kind of silly. But, the I Heard podcast never, I could have told them that, and everybody was fine. Everybody was reinstated. There was almost every single person. Again, there's always a bad egg here or there, but almost every single person the suspension was rescinded. Now, that doesn't apply to people outside of NoCallLeads, but as far as the NoCallLeads people, it does. The end result there was that a lot of the agents, man, I have people that they are living in big homes and driving, expensive cars and stuff, building other types of businesses, all kinds of stuff. It's really amazing. People having multiple six-figure nest eggs that they would have never had they gone and did the typical agent the failed system that everybody works in. It's just interesting there. I don't want to, I wasn't even going to say so much about this, these people making this podcast that were attacking us, but they're attacking all these agents, and they basically have this self-righteousness and, and this giggle that they have. It's not funny. There's people's livelihoods at stake, and you're just making all these stupid accusations. You should be called out, and that's all there is to it. There's a bunch of Facebook frauds doing this, like I said, and there's people that just make a post, and like I showed you with that stupid RICO thing, that had nothing to do with us. Our name's nowhere on it, and they posted it. Here's the RICO case. Nothing. Oh, and then there's a class action lawsuit being drafted right now against the government for their actions. I don't know who it's going to go against. I'm not involved in it because it's not to my benefit to be involved in it from my perspective. I've discussed it with his attorney. Well, I won't say I discussed it in depth. I have had discussions about it. I just feel like it's, we've done our thing. We make a bunch of money, and we don't need to do that. And it's again, what about the scraper bots and stuff like that? These people these other agencies or these people making videos and Facebook posts, they never heard about all this stuff, or maybe they did, but NoCallLeads was the better name to get more clicks for their videos. I don't know. Maybe they should bitch and cry about the fact that most people in the insurance business fail. And with us, I have always worked like a dog to help people succeed. And the people that were, oh, by the way, we lost nobody hardly at all. We had like 1 or 2 people that got, a little pissy with us, and because they were, but they were fine until maybe things weren't going their way or something, and then they kind of jumped on the bandwagon of attacking us. But everybody stuck with us. Almost everybody. I would say it's like 99%. So it was the people on the outside that couldn't see. We were doing weekly meetings and multiple meetings, technology meetings, compliance meetings, everything, keeping everybody compliant all along the way. Yeah, that's, yeah, so I've covered most of this. And again, I'll go back to, when was it? Was it that one? He went down with the ship. No, the ship never went down. Do you see that one there, everybody? Was doing seminars to the end. Yeah, we're just starting them. Go to NoCallLeads.com and sign up for the next webinar. And because we never did anything wrong. Nobody was found at fault of anything. And I did meet with the compliance team. I met with higher ups at CMS. And the only reason I met with them is because agents were crying. And I would say that I agree from the standpoint of those AORs and people being rewritten. But that was a fault of the system. That was not a fault of the agents, and they weren't all my agents doing that. There were agents. There were many more agents that weren't working for me doing this than were working for me, and they had their own systems. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad you gave me so much attention. I'm glad that we made a bunch of money. I'm glad that I made a bunch of money. I'm glad that the agents made a bunch of money. If I could do it all over again, I would. I'd do it exactly the same way if I had to in order to get it done. And I am grateful to everybody out there that has been part of this team. And I'm grateful to all the people that bitched and cried about us because they made us, shall I say, ACA famous. And that the NoCall Leads name is just now getting cranked up again. And you guys are not going to like it because we're going to be doing Medicare as well. How you like that, huh? So that's all I can say. I was going to go into the 2.0 program on this call, but I'm not going to because I just don't feel like it, and this call is getting lengthy. So I'm going to end it right here. And I, again, thank you to all the supporters and my detractors. I appreciate all of you.